All right, this first match review tonight of the two comes from Gochita_90. On YouTube, it is One Cute Tiger. 1.7k hours, so a very, very seasoned player in Dead by Daylight. You should know most of the fundamentals at this point. You're starting to get really, really advanced at 2k. You're playing Slinger, which is a character that I tertiaried at one point. I had a lot of fun learning this character, so moderately good person to ask. So yeah, Nostromo. Nostromo is kind of like, it's kind of an icky map. I wouldn't say, it's kind of, I think it's still too fresh a map to be like, it's aggressively survivor side, aggressively killer sided. But the map is small, which you think would air itself on the side of killers. But the resources are very compact and kind of make chaining tiles pretty easy. So it can be a pretty rough map for killers. So anyways, the Deathslinger match. Got the brownie gun. In terms of your add-ons and your build, you got reload and mangle spike, which is fine. Honestly, if you could afford the green, like the Warden's keys, definitely go for that. But this is a good add-on pick. Nothing to write home about there. And your build is pretty good. You got No Way Out and Save the Best for Last, which are the two best non-slowdown perks in the game. Save, obviously, you get value on this more than most killers because you have a way to save 2 stacks by breaking the chain on the Obsession. So that's good. Jolt, obviously all of your attacks, despite being an M2 killer and an M1, so you're going to be getting Jolt value. Oh, sorry, Surge. Since we got Stranger Things back, this is Surge again. Got Surge. Brutal is a good pick on Slinger because a lot of ways that people will play Sweaty against you is just to like pre-drop pallets super early. So it's not a bad pick, but do keep in mind that you have no info on this build, so you might get a little lost in terms of macro sense. Okay, you go for an amphibious shot. I know it's ambitious. It's a joke. Okay. Good job. Whenever you're looping this specific window on Nostromo, take the loop from the left and not the right. Because if you drop down on the right, they're just going to be able to go back up the ramp and back into the vault. Whereas if you drop down on the left, there's no way back up here. So take this vault. Loop this from the left, not the right. Luckily, he doesn't realize that and just kind of like runs away, but good players will do that to you. I don't want to lick the gun. No, it literally looks like a brownie. It looks like a tasty cosmic brownie. So like, yeah, I don't blame you for that one. She should have just. Okay, so first off, she messed up because she should have just went for the pallet drop. She should not have went for the flashlight save. Second, always look straight up whenever you're under the impression that a flashlight save is about to happen. Always look straight up. Always look straight up. That's why you don't look to the side. Look straight up every single time. Okay, Dwight doesn't know how stuns work. He has a 4th-year crown too, so he's not new. Okay. Why you dropped the pallet? I don't know. Okay, don't mess around. Just pick up. Because you're just gonna give her a chance to reposition for the save. Okay, luckily he climbs into the wall there. You know she's around because she was just hovering for the flashlight save. Like I said, you have no info perks, so there's not really like a way to like find her, but you know she's over there. You hear that gen? Yeah, but so you hear that gen being worked on right by you. Scratch marks went to your right. Yep, there you go. I'm just not a big chocolate person, just in general. She's probably in there still. Yeah. Or she, it's the ace. But unfortunately it's your obsession, you didn't know that yet, so you ended up wasting stacks, but there was no way to know that. That even looked like that hit. That looked really weird. That did not even look like it hit, that's weird. Oh well, we take this. Okay, so just a small efficiency thing. Like, obviously, match time is gen time, so all save time matters, but this isn't the biggest deal in the world. Typically, it's better to reload after hooking a person. So if you're playing like Deathslinger, Clown, any character that has to reload, it's usually better to reload after hooking the person for multiple reasons. First of which, especially when you have a flashlight saver in the game like you do with Nia, it gives the savers time to position and that sort of thing. So, like, you typically want to reload after hooking, so, yeah. Yeah, peanut butter is superior, I agree with that. Remember Friday we had that Huntress that was just straight up hitting us straight through walls, and that was like... I was so frustrated. Like, it wasn't like, oh, she's hitting me around the corners. Like, no, she was throwing hatchets through walls. I was like, holy moly. That was a good attempt. Unfortunately, he still had the speed burst for being hit. Bad lag? Oh, yeah. And the homie swore he had good ping, and he just didn't. I don't know what that shot was. Should the pyramid head on? Oh, okay. Good job to drop chase to contest the save. I would not continue. Okay. So, like, it's good that... okay, so you have played this correctly up to this point in terms of your perks. You got a chase with Ace early, so you already have your No Way Out stack. For the rest of this game, I would avoid Ace to keep your safe stacks. Because you already have your No Way Out stack, which is the only time you need to... you know, that's the only reason you need to chase Ace, is to get that No Way Out stack. Now you can just ignore him for the rest of the game. And I would. I would not go after him here, even though he's the injured one. Okay, you get a little distracted here. You leave Dwight. You go to interrupt the hook save, which is smart because, you know, you don't want them healed up, but then you give up on both of them. So I don't know. You get a little indecisive there. What is that charity date again? It's Friday. The 10th. It's Friday. You heard them moving. You heard their footsteps there. What a perfect lineup. Why? So Friday I'm free? Let's go. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Good zone. Be careful. You do know multiple people are around, so you don't want to get saved on. Okay, good. Good job being aware of that. Yeah, those two ended up just healing up, so, like, you leaving them there was kind of, like, not the best. That's the problem with not having info perks. You don't really know where to go next after... that was a good shot. Don't really know where to go next after, fucking people a lot. And a character without, you know... a character without, info base kit is gonna... you really should be going after Dwight here. I know you're trying to plan for No Way Out stacks, but you really should just be going after Dwight here. Because you need somebody dead at 2 gens. That was a good shot. You know, for a small map, you're not really getting a whole lot of jolt value. Which is interesting. Like, most of the chases are happening at the edge of the map, so you're not really hitting the gens. What's your jolt? Or surge, sorry. Back to the normal name. I think your indecision is what's costing you here. You're kind of just like wandering around and not making like solid choices. So you ended up doing nothing instead. Yeah, you're like, I'm going to go pressure this gen, and then you choose not to pressure that gen. And then you're like, I'm okay, well, I'm going to go pressure this gen, and then you're not pressuring that gen. It's just like the situation you had with Dwight, Nia, and Ace at the hook earlier in this match. Just like, you were like, okay, I'm going to chase Dwight, and then you gave up on chasing Dwight. You're like, no, I'm going to pressure the hook, and then you stop pressuring the hook. So, like, you kind of, your indecision is eating a lot of time in this match, and match time is gen time. You just got to commit to something. Who's here requesting a... are you requesting a killer build in the middle of a match review? Or match review time. I'm not gonna be good. I'm gonna be able to get to that for like an hour. Look, I just got home. I am looking. Sorry, this is your last No Way Out stack at least. Oh, that sucks. He just got excited. Yeah, he just immediately input that. Dove in. Wow, Bill played that very poorly. Nia's right there, you hear? You have warded her off. I would just go for the pickup. I would just go for the pickup. There you go, there you go. Saw no aliens, you're like, oh, it's time. This is why it's weird when I see people say they like half tapped her on Lightborn. It's like, just little stuff like that, like just kind of like pressuring her a little bit, like helped you get that. Yeah, you really should have, yeah, you really should have gone after Dwight both times that you got indecisive. You should have went after Dwight. Like the reason you're in this situation is because of all that indecision, and then you eventually started like kind of like wanting to throw to get no way out value. You're like, I want all 4 stacks, but now the game's just over and nobody's dead, right? Like you may be able to do some cool stuff in the end game here because you bought more time in no way out, but like for the most part, it was definitely better to like kill Dwight then get like the stacks from the other players. So I think you had kind of like a bad prioritization of your game plan here. Surprised the gens got done already. It wasn't that bad. It doesn't matter if you okay, so like it doesn't matter that the chases and the shots were good if your macro game is bad, right? Like the indecision that I was talking about, not knowing who to chase, not committing to chases, checking gens but not pressuring them. Like if your macro game's bad, it doesn't matter how good your micro game is. If your micro game is like the most efficient ever, if your macro game sense isn't there, it's not going to matter at the end of the day. And that's what you're seeing with this. Would you be happy if I copied your haircut? Go for it. Go for it. I will say though, winter's a coming, and this does this does get very cold on the sides of my head. We'll say that. I'm surprised. Okay, so what's the point of bringing save on Deathslinger when the whole point is like, hey, I can break the chain on the survivor so I can save stacks, and you haven't done that once this entire match on the ace. That'd be like running save the best for last on demo and just M1ing the obsession anyway. It's like, why? That was a really good shot. Like, your micro game's really good. Your shots are good, but your macro game is, like, you get kind of, like, distracted and frazzled, it seems like. It's like you don't have a clear game plan a lot. And I don't know if that's because you didn't have info, so you didn't know where to go. But a lot of it, like, you would go to approach a gen to, like, pressure it. And then you'd just be like, okay, well, I'm not. And then you'd approach another gen, not pressure it, and then leave. Oh, no. Yeah, now they can access the doors. Frazzled? Yeah, like, you know, you're just, you know, all over the place, disorganized. That sort of thing. And then on this door. I've heard of it. Well, now you have. I like the idea to try to drag her away from the door. It doesn't end up ultimately mattering at the end of everything. But oh, that's not good. Yeah, I would say that's not good. I would have just broken the chain there instead of eating the stun. Because like, unless, I mean, yeah, there's basically no, yeah, I was trying to think of a reason that would be good, but really there's not. You should have just broken the chain there to gain distance. Yeah, now they're just gonna body block. Come on, Bill, you can do it. You actually can't body block there. Bill just messed up. Yeah, Bill just screwed that up. He should have stayed between base and the chain. Come on, it's your time. Yep. You got greedy. You picked without looking. You picked without looking. Yep. I've noticed that you feel your reaction to flashlights is very like brazen. As somebody at almost 2k hours, I don't mean this in defense. As somebody at almost 2k hours, like the way you just pick up into flashlights consistently is kind of scary. That is something, that is a fundamental you should have down by now. But hey, something to learn, right? Yeah, you got really, really greedy for that kill and you didn't check. And there's the 4 out. Alright, so in terms of this, we need to look away for the Bill. No, Bill didn't have a flashlight or anything. Bill did not have a flashlight or anything. No. So that wasn't why. Yeah, in terms, nothing's too crazy about the builds. In terms of your main takeaways, your first one is that you had a lot of indecision in this match, especially in the mid game. Like your micro game was really, really good. Your micro game was really, really good. Like your chases were short, your shots were good, but your macro game in terms of choosing where to go and what to punish and choosing what chases to take was not the best. And I think that's like it's not like I know that's a very, very like vague and kind of catch-all sort of thing, but your macro game needs work. I think specific examples is like you went to chase Dwight, which made sense in the mid game because you had the most hook pressure on him, and then you gave up on him to go pressure the hook, which was, not the worst idea in the world to drop chase to go back to hook, because then you break up the heal, which means they're playing injured, which means they're essentially one shot. Made sense. But then you didn't commit to that chase, and then you went back to try and find Dwight. Dwight had scrammed out of there, so you ended up with nothing for that. And there are multiple instances in this match of that where you were just kind of like, I'm going to go check this gen. Okay, well, I'm not going to pressure the person working on this gen. Okay, I'm going to go check this gen, and now I'm not going to pressure the person. Like, you just kind of like, you did a whole lot of nothing. You didn't seem to have a game plan. So I would, even if you're not like fully confident in your game plan, you need to have one. You need to pick and commit. You can't just kind of like wander around the map, doing willy-nilly. You need to be doing something, because match time is gen time, and if you're wasting that time not in chase, not pressuring something, like that's time that the survivors are going to use to their advantage. Like, and I think it's funny because, like, I don't mean this as an offense, but, like, multiple people in chat have said, like, wow, these survivors were super good and efficient. And, like, realistically, you should have been on them. Your chases were short and quick. Like, you had really, really good shots and really short chases. The reason that the survivors seemed efficient was because you wasted a lot of time between chases. That time between your fast chases was really, really long. So it's one of those things where it's like you may be confused. You may be like, oh, well, are these just survivors really, really good? Are there gen perks in play? And if you look, there's no gen perks in play here. There's resilience and deja vu on one person. Like, well, there's resilience on Bill too, but you didn't injure him till the end. So like, yeah, there weren't gen perks in play really. So it wasn't the gen perks, and it wasn't like toolboxes. It was 2 flashlights and a med kit. These survivors weren't efficient. You just wasted so much time between chases that like that time added up as gen time. So you need to have a game plan. Commit to something, anything. But you had a lot of just like wandering back and forth and not committing to anything, and that added up in the end game. Second thing is, and I mentioned this before, this is your second takeaway, is at almost 2k hours, you should know how to counteract flashlights at this point. Like, you should be picking and looking straight up. If you know somebody's hovering around, you should check first. And you did that one time, but every other time you didn't. And it ended up costing you in the end. You getting greedy for that pickup at the end there and not checking literally cost you the 1k. It literally cost you, and it made it a 4 out. So you need to clean that up. You need to learn how to counteract flashlights. Always look up. If you're aware that somebody's around hovering, check first. Try to bait a little bit. I would like to see more of that from you, because that was just kind of like lost pressure that shouldn't have happened. It's going to be even worse than going by background players. That Nia had background player, and honestly, she should have missed all of her flashlights still, even with background player. Background player it isn't just like the win all, take all for flashlight saves. There's still a lot you can do. So I would work on that. But yeah, those are the main two. Like, honestly, like I said, your micro game is great. Your chases were short, your shots were good, but like your macro game really needs work, and your counterplay to flashlights needs work. So that's what I would work on.